complicated, too much CGI, too expensive. Let me introduce myself quickly. What is it? There's something? Yes, I go on? Yes, yes. Okay, we got. So let me introduce myself. My name is Sadek. I'm the CEO of Prismic. I've been doing this from the product meetup since the beginning. And with me, Renaud.
I'm not Sadek and I'm not the CEO of Prismic. I'm Renaud. I'm managing the product at Prismic. I've been the one doing this from the beginning and being sometimes away because of sickness, basically, and holidays once. So I'm the one that is trying to avoid this because of COVID. No, I was sick last week.
Oh, they
last
can't
month.
hear us. They say no.
Okay.
Is it good? Is it good now? Can you hear us? Yes. It seems it's good.
It was good.
Cool.
No.
In the beginning it wasn't, but then yeah. Okay, I remember.
Okay, réintroduce yourself.
No, I did. That's it. I introduced myself. And today, so Sadek, Rono, we're here since the beginning, and then we have Nuha, who's helping with a lot of stuff, and we have Flo on the camera and all the production stuff. So thanks to them for every time for doing all of that. Happy to have you here today. Let's start with the usuals, okay? I love how international Prismic is, and our employees are coming from all around the world, but also our users, our community, everything is international. I love it, and that's why I like to start all the time asking where are people joining us from. So if you can quickly take your keyboard and tell us where you're joining from and what's the weather there. It's good to know how people are doing in the different places in the world.
And at the same time, if you can with us share what you've ordered with the Uber voucher, because I don't know, well, I guess if you're there, but like for every meetup we send a voucher basically so that you can order food. We try basically for this virtual meetup to replicate what are physical meetups in real life. So like getting for you some pizza or burger or something more healthy maybe if you want to eat. You should have received a voucher that allows you to basically order food. It's on us, and so you can enjoy this while watching the meetup basically.
So we're having some. So Andre from Sweden, it's rainy there and very dark. We have Tony's from Toronto, Canada. It's sunny. That's cool. I saw Rafael from Brazil. We have TJ, and TJ we're going to talk, right? TJ from Monogram is going to walk us through a very interesting case of using the JAMStack. I'm happy to have you here. Then we have UK, Bristol. We have Brazil again, and Montreal. Brooklyn, New York. Thank you for joining us, and Amsterdam. Oh, Italy. How is the weather in Italy? Which city in Italy? I love Italy. Who loves Italy as well? This is my dream country. I don't know why, as a Syrian, I dreamt to, of Italy being my favorite country. But it's a lot of people's favorite country, Italy, right? Which city?
Heather loves Italy too.
And Heather is here. Yeah. Okay, we yeah, I've been in Italy several times.
Rafael didn't get any voucher, so I did not resubscribe to the meetup and therefore got no voucher. So
no, I'm sorry. Next time, I don't know. Yeah, it's good to because but normally if you subscribe only once, then you get the voucher. We will dig into this and make sure that it doesn't happen again. And then we have Oakland, California. So maybe we can go into the program today. The program, we're going to have not many topics, but a lot of talk. We start with Monogram and Max Stadium. They have done a very interesting and advanced setup that I would like to share with you guys. I guess we Prismic already can learn a lot from this.
Yes.
And by the way, just before this meetup, I went to our Slack and I told everyone on general, hey, you need to join this and watch this because I guess it's a very interesting case study. And then we have, and I don't have it on the screen anymore, but we have Dan, who is a developer that then started being a freelancer, and now he's building his own agency. And also, I like how visionary he is about the fact that he's transforming from delivering as an agency, delivering a design or a front end to delivering an experience for people to build pages. And I love this story, and I would like to focus a little bit of time on it. And then we have some product updates we're going to talk about. And, in between the lines, I will try maybe if I have the opportunity to share some stories about what's happening with Prismic. Maybe not. Let's see how it goes. I guess we're going for in full for roughly an hour and a half. So please stay with us and use your keyboards. Tell us whatever you want, and we'll try to react to that. Okay.
And what's cool also, what I enjoy is that basically we see some faces again, and we can recognize people in the chat. The people are coming back, and it's a pleasure to see that we are basically building some kind of connection with the people using Prismic and see them again. that's very cool to see that every time.
And I love something that this community is bringing, that we're working with a lot of people from the community. Like, for instance, Judith, it's very often that we ask him for help, for you to help us in building some demos, or for some building some things for our own website or some stuff. So this is really cool.
So
we have someone from Rwanda. Thank you for Ami, or did I pronounce it right? From Rwanda. Thank you for joining us. So, should we start? We didn't have anyone talking about the food that they ordered, but that's fine.
It's okay. Only someone complaining about the fact that they didn't get the voucher, but I guess needing to open the browser for Prismic to log in.
So yeah. So by the way, if you have these kind of questions or like feedback about the product or anything like that, you can also comment with that, and then we will we have a session by the end of QA, and we will look through them and we'll try to answer as many as we can. So this is also a good thing to do throughout. Is there a Discord link for Prismic? I don't know. We used to have a Slack, but then it wasn't it didn't go with building a community. That's why we went into Discourse.
The thing is that it was not really effective in the sense that pretty often the same questions were asked, etc. And Slack or Discord are creating some trouble in the sense. It brings a lot in creating a community, allowing people to just respond to themselves, etc. But like in terms of searchability of the topics, basically we had to answer like 10 times, 20 times, 30 times the same topic. While the forum is more structured, and so basically you can find how people just in a consolidated way solve the issue that they were facing or shared knowledge on a given topic. So we switched from Slack to Discourse in order to allow basically people to just find answers easily for their subject. So no, we don't have any Discord.
I see Christoph ordered Greek food today. I love Greek food. And next week I will be in Crete in Greece. I love it. I hope that the weather will help there. But even if the weather is not good, I will love the food anyway. And I see that Toy saying that we'll post it on Twitter when it gets there. This is cool. Thank you very much. What is it? Starbucks. Okay,
that's nice.
Starbucks standard.
Standard.
I spent so much of my youth in Starbucks. All right. I guess maybe we are up for the first thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Nuha, you're okay with that?
She didn't do the backflip. She was supposed to do a backflip to
tell us that it's not time for the next section.
Exactly, but she hasn't done it.
Yes.
So let's welcome TJ and Heather in that case. They will. So we talked about the website that they've done for Max Stadium. The Monogram and Max Stadium did together basically last month. It was the website that we featured as a website of the month, and since we found out that it was a very interesting topic, we basically decided to go to get a deep dive into how they've built it, and so but they should now appear in your screen. Wonderful. Hello.
Hi everyone.
Hi TJ, hi Heather. Maybe you can already introduce a little bit yourselves and what you do, and then we'll talk. There's so much to unpack, and I will be having hard time to focus because there's so much content and there's so many interesting stuff that you can tell us. But let's start by you introducing yourselves.
Go first.
I'm Heather Robertson, and I'm the VP of Marketing for Max Stadium, and that's the site we're going to be talking about today.
And I'm TJ Coley. This is actually my second Prismic Meetup. So creative director and partner at Monogram. We're a JAMStack digital agency in Atlanta, Georgia, and we love Prismic and we love JAMStack. We were actually in the Next.js conference yesterday, Heather and I.
How did that go?
Which was super cool. It went really well. You guys should watch that as well. We were on stage D, and we kind of went into detail with the code of this site and Next.js plus Prismic. But yeah, it was super cool. But thanks again for having us on here today. It's really nice.
So Heather, what is your role? What do you do?
Basically, I lead our marketing department. So we're a fairly small company. We have I think I have a team of 3 right now. And so basically we do everything marketing for Max Stadium, including managing the website.
So you are a 100 people in the
Thereabouts,
company?
yeah.
About that,
Mhm.
and you are VP of marketing,
Mhm.
right? But your background, is it marketing? Is it content? Is it design?
All of the above. I've done marketing and content and design and actually coding. I'm relatively old, so I even learned HTML back in like the Netscape days. Yeah, so I've been doing this a while.
Are you as old, TJ, or
Did you code on Netscape?
did you code in Netscape?
No.
No, but I remember using Netscape once. I actually started coding on Firefox 3. That was the browser of choice back
What-
in the day when they
What's-
finally
I
redesigned
love
it.
when people say Firefox back in the day.
What's the oldest
That's
version
not
of
back in the day.
what's
Yeah,
the
it was
oldest
probably
version
around
of
2000.
Internet Explorer that you use? That's a good way to
Oh,
understand.
Internet Explorer 7. Because 6 was the ugly gray one, and then 7 they redesigned it with the big blue shiny orb for the back button. So 7, I thought was the coolest thing ever. Like,
Well,
I
you're
used to
old
love
enough
that browser.
to see the 7 at least.
Yeah, but every Internet Explorer after that, I hated it. So.
I've seen people debugging issues on IE5, and that was hard. But anyway, doesn't matter here.
What's funny is actually we were dealing with something like that yesterday. Claudio, who's our director of technology, and my counterpart on the tech side, we were debugging a Prismic site we're building and we'll be launching soon. And somehow we were importing a script that was causing Quarks mode. If you remember Quarks mode in IE back in the day, like it would put a tag above the doc type and it would like render the page differently. So it's funny that you brought that up. We were just dealing with that yesterday.
Nice problem to have. Anyways, so today, what we thought about is that you have, in this collaboration that you did with Heather, you build a system. You have already the stack is very interesting that you talk about, but you also there is a methodology of building websites that is very interesting, and I would like us to walk through this. And there's so many things about it. There is the Figma side, there is the component, the Prismic side, and then all the other things. But let's start maybe from the beginning. How did it all start? Like, what was the problem? You run into TJ. What did you tell him? What was your challenge, Heather?
The biggest challenge for us with technology was that we were using a CMS that had some limitations to it. And so we really wanted something that was more expandable, that we could grow, that we could build on. But then it also coincided with us wanting to change a lot of our messaging, and we also decided we'd change the design at the same time. So everything kind of came together all at the same time. So we originally contacted Monogram to be able to do a lot of our UI UX for our customer portal and then also for our website. And then talking to them, they kind of introduced me to the concept of why don't you move to JAMStack and Prismic and use Next.js and a lot of these new technologies that we hadn't been using. And so that was kind of our motivation to not just change the content and the design, but also the whole back end as well.
All right. And that's so you came there, you said, okay, we have to change the design and the content. But TJ, what happened then? What did you do?
Yeah, so we've built, as you probably know, we've been dozens of websites with Prismic in the past, and we really love Prismic, and we feel like it was a natural choice for Heather and her team, understanding that Heather is not a typical like client in the sense that she's very hands-on in the design of things, and she's very particular about the content and the copy and how things need to be displayed. And the challenge there was with JAMStack, it's almost the opposite. Like you almost have less control typically of how things are displayed. But Prismic was a natural choice because of slices, and we envisioned this grand idea that we can give Heather like a ton of slices with a ton of different options and a ton of different variations for each slice, so that she has all of the Lego blocks, if you will, to help her not only build this website but also maintain it and build new pages going forward. And that's why we kind of guided Heather towards Prismic, and the stack was Next.js plus Prismic. So and it's deployed on Vercel.
So there is something I really love about this, and this is something that we are trying to basically incorporate more and more in our product and the way we talk to our community is that it's not anymore about and please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not anymore like your role as an agency is not anymore to deploy or deliver a website, but a publishing experience, right? Because here you're talking, you want to give Heather the building blocks, the Lego,
Right.
So that she can, mix and match from these and does her pages that are not all alike, right? This is what
Yeah.
you were looking for, Heather.
Yep,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
actually a really good point. We always tell our clients, we don't. Are we blurry? We don't really build we don't really build websites. For our clients, we build a website builder. So, and what that really means is like we build a system with Prismic at the core, such that clients are able to build websites moving forward using these building blocks, right? Using these slices, using the mechanisms that we've given them. And basically they can build it however they'd like. So
Yeah, sorry for the satellite issues that we're having here. This is what they say in football matches. Like we have satellite issues, but here this is not what we're having. I guess a connection problem or something. But anyway, we still can hear you, right, TJ?
yes.
So you're saying that you deliver an experience. What is it? Can you repeat it? Because I guess now we have your image.
Yeah, so basically we always tell our clients, and we told Heather this too as well. Monogram does not build websites. We build and deliver a website builder. And what that really means is like Prismic is a very big important key aspect of that. We don't just make all the pages and give you a static fixed thing made in concrete. We actually give you like Lego blocks that are custom tailored to you. So what that really is slices. We think about each slice, we think about the design of every slice, we consider how it works relative to other slices, and we deliver that. So Heather doesn't just have a website from day one, she has a website builder. She has all the tools she needs with Prismic to be able to change anything about the website and also build new pages and redeploy pages and create like marketing campaigns that she can put them in a release in Prismic and publish them all together. So like there's a lot of flexibility there. So we always say that like we're not building a website, we're building a website builder.
Right. And by the way, now building a website, but the website builder, I love it. This should be maybe the hero of Prismic. Don't build a website builder. What is it? A website build a website builder or custom website builder. This is really cool. I have a question from you. Was Monogram making use of Slice Machine and Storybook? This is Said.
We're actually. Yeah, this is interesting. So when Max Stadium was in the midst of development, we came to this decision where Slice Machine was still kind of in beta, and you guys were still kind of working on it, and we decided, should we use Slice Machine or should we just go the traditional route of slices and our own in-house Slice Machine that we kind of talked about in my last webinar. Because this is a very large enterprise website, we Claudio and his team made the architectural decision not to use Slice Machine for this project, but at the same time we have a lot of internal R&D projects with Slice Machine and Storybook, and we think that all future projects will be Slice Machine and Storybook, and at some point, probably a 1.1 release, we're going to come back and convert Max Stadium to Slice Machine as well.
That's really cool.
To make it easier to build new slices and for Heather to see them and document them and all kinds of stuff. So definitely think that is the future. Like Storybook is awesome, and Slice Machine working with it is really cool too.
Yeah, and that was anyway back then. It was our recommendation anyway, because we said like it was in beta and maybe it wasn't the best decision, or at least we didn't recommend using it in production. But then that time we talked about
using a stable version.
Yeah, stable version, and now it's a different story. But anyway, and you said you developed more or less your own Slice Machine version for yourselves. That you build a website, which is very similar, and there are things that we can inspire from that as well. But guess what? TLDR, show me the Figma file.
No, but that's
yeah,
the thing.
of course.
Because it explained a lot about what you said. Basically, you sold to either a website builder, and basically you've prototyped it right in the Figma, and you've used this approach from the beginning, basically in your process.
Yeah, I love this Figma file, so we need to go through that. So what happened there? We can see your screen.
No, we cannot see your screen.
No, yes, this is the screen.
No, that's a screenshot. That's not my screen.
That's a screenshot.
We should see your screen. Yes, we would like to see the screen. Awesome. We see your screen.
There, you can see the screen.
Nice.
All right. So, so basically, we wanted to mirror in Figma the exact same way that Prismic works, so that we could envision all of the slices before we developed anything. And what we did is we actually built out Figma components for those slices. So this is a slice, this is a slice, this is a slice, and so forth, right? And obviously that was not enough. So in Figma, you can create a variance. You can use variants of components to then create different versions of that same component. So we introduced themes, and what themes is it allows Heather and her team the ability to change the color, for example, of every slice. So like you can see all the white ones. There's these ones are gray. These ones are blue. These are
So
we call it
you're-
storm. That's the color of the color.
I guess you know your Figma files so well. You're going very quickly. So first you define the different components, and then you define variations of them, right?
Yeah, so we defined all the components, and then we defined all the variations of them.
Can you give us an example of the variations? And did you use the variation feature in Figma, or was it not released yet?
Variation feature in Figma?
I think there is a variation.
Yeah, so this is using variation. So that was actually introduced right then. So this was like one of our first projects we use this feature with, and we love it. And I'll show you how it works in a second.
Yes.
But for
great.
example, this
Yeah.
slice, this gradient image with tabs, it's just it's an image from Prismic, a title from Prismic. This is a repeater with tabs. So the repeater has a title and some content, some rich text, and a CTA. So Heather could create 1, 2, or 3 repeater items within this slice that creates these tabs. But what's interesting is she can choose a theme, which changes the color of this this accent color on the left. So the theme is actually another content type in Prismic, and I'll show you that in a second. But the variations of the slices is actually the orientation. So there's left and right. So this is we're using the slice label in Prismic for Heather can choose left and right. And by default, it's left. So it falls back to left. If the value is null, it goes to left. And if she chooses right, then it goes to the right. So just by having us have like, 1, 2, 3, 4 themes times two variations, it gives us like 8 different slices right here.
Yeah, lot of choice, right? A lot of choice. And this is really cool when you don't want to do the same boring page over and over again. And this is very important for the readers or for the visitors of the website. They don't have always the same kind of design or order or colors or all of that. That gives a lot of flexibility in the hands of content writers, right?
Well,
Heather, this is
Yeah, and that was really important to us because I didn't want it to look like a template site, like we just bought a website template somewhere and every page looked the same. So it's really important for me, like you said, to have unique pages, unique content. But at the same time, it kind of defeats the purpose of using a CMS if you don't have repeatable slices or repeatable sections. So it was a way to try to combine those two ideas of how can we make it standardized, but also very customizable. So it looks unique, even if it's really not, even if we're reusing the same slices over and over again.
And there's something that, yeah, go ahead.
Providing customization option basically without allowing anyone to put Comics RMS as a font or like putting some random color in the design.
Yeah, in some ways we're the gatekeeper. Like we built these slices to be rigid at the same time they're very modular. So like, you know, if Heather wanted to change the font of this, she cannot. Like this is the font that was predefined in the design, and that's what it is. But at the same time, we don't want to, because you know Heather's also a creative and she does a lot of design work and she does a lot of graphics as well in her role. We did not want to limit her. We felt like a CMS where she did not have slices and variations would have been very limiting, and that would not have been a successful project. The gamble on almost on Prismic and slices and this grand route of building out all kinds of slices with all kinds of variations actually paid off, because now Heather has like, I don't know, literally hundreds of slice types that she could choose from, because we have about 25 slices and each one has like 8 themes and
variations
and variations. And so like this is an interesting one, logo carousel. So what it is it's a title, a description, a CTA, and then a repeater of logos. And using the label in Prismic, we can choose it to be a scroller or a grid. So there's a grid. And what that's really just doing is it's writing a different CSS class on the slice to either wrap all these items in a grid or just put them in one line and have them scroll left and right. Again, it's the same slice, but it's being used two completely different ways, times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different themes, 6 different themes is like already, like 12 different options.
So I would like to recap this, but before this, Nuha, how we're doing on time? We still have 8 minutes? Wow, this is very few. I have so much I want to discover. Sure, we will run over time. I don't know what will happen, but let's see. So to recap, on already that we didn't dig into the details of how we encoded all these things in Prismic and in Tailwind, and that there is a story there as well. How did you build stuff on? You build it on with Tailwind, and there is an interesting thing. How did you get these themes there? But first of all, so you have the different slices that you defined. Then on top of the slices, you have some kind of variations, grid or scroll, or
left or right or left
or right, all these kind of things. So these are variations, and by the way, Prismic now has variations, so you can use that for this. And then on top of that, you added a notion of themes, which is the color. But that doesn't mean that people could put any colors they want. It's just that you predefined some themes. Can you give us examples of the names of the themes that you have? Like what is it? Orange, or what the names of the?
Name them?
We named them unique things like fire and ocean and storm and passion. Yeah, there's more creative names, but those are for the gradients, and so they kind of set a tone or a mood, and so we went with more creative names than just orange.
Yeah, so the solid colors have more literal names.
Like navy and
navy, black,
gray.
Storm. Storm is like our signature purple that we came up with. It's like we needed an accent color because we didn't want everything to be orange. That's Max Stadium's color, but we wanted another non-orange color that goes well with orange. So that's Storm. But long story short, for the solid colors, we had slightly more boring names, and then the gradients were more feelings. So like passions, ocean, fire, stuff like that. So and then the gradients had light and dark variations as well. So passion dark, passion light.
And there is something I love what you did, and I would like you to show us this before we go into Prismic and show the Prismic side of things. In the Figma, you have an artboard that you call the slices, where you can show us how you can actually visually build these kind of. Build the slices, choose the variations, and choose the themes, right? You have that kind of process on Figma. Can you show us?
Yes. Yeah, of course. So this is the basically where we kind of envisioned the entire website, and using the slices that I just showed you on the slices page in Figma, we're using those same components here to just build pages down. This looks like it was a ton of work, and it was to create the content, but as far as actual layout, it was super quick and super easy. So I'll just zoom into like one of these, for example. Let's say I want, maybe I'm thinking, Heather and I, this page is too white. Let's make this like dark, right? So I just change this drop down to like navy, and that's it.
And that's the theme, right?
Yeah, it mirrors the theme change in Prismic. So changing the theme in Prismic will make this page look exactly like this. Same with this one. Maybe I would like to flip this, and maybe I'll reorder these, such, and that maybe I think now that I think about it, this one should be white, and this one should be dark, and it was that easy just to change the design of this page, because we basically mirrored the slices functionality in Figma, and that allowed us to visually see how easy it is to build stuff with slices. And then we basically went and developed every single one of these slices exactly the way they are in Figma.
And so either your process is basically to create any page before starting to create them in Prismic, you go into the Figma file and then you build it in here to have a preview page basically of how it will look, and then you enter the content and then you go to Prismic. How do you work with it?
Yeah, after we started building inside Figma with these slices, it kind of went hand in hand with the content. So I'd started writing content just long form in a text document, but then once we started doing this, it became really easy to visualize the content. As I would drop in a slice, I think, oh, well, I want this to be a 6 square type content block or something, or 50-50 slice, or one of the ones that we were building. And so then it made it easy to do the content, see the layout in real time in Figma, and then also know that's how it would look in Prismic when it was built.
That's really cool. That's so, so this is something. For instance, when we were talking about it, this is something that we could also help with. I guess eventually we need to bring you some kind of experience where you can visually see how things are happening when you're building. Maybe directly inside Prismic, so you don't have to do the work somewhere and then copy paste it into Prismic. And this is something that we have to work on, and we have some ideas, and we already started experimenting with it.
I think you guys are onto something with Storybook. I think that's kind of getting towards that, the visual representation of
there
slices.
are things that we are working on, but we can't work on it today because the product guy decided not to. So anyway, we have quite a few interesting comments out there. A few people really like the setup, and we have a few questions as well. Dan is saying, this is so similar to my setup and how we approach our projects. So cool. Prismic naturally guides teams to work in such a similar ways. I mean, the thing that happens is that you guys guide us into something and we're like, wow, this is cool. We can even make it better. And then, we integrate some stuff, variations, things being in the code. All of these comes from our users. So that it's very important that we work closely with people like you that envision that kind of thing. That it's different now. It's not anymore about developing this website. It's about developing the experience. So now we have to work together with people like you, and then to bring features that help you go with that approach.
Integrate with your workflow and basically get your best practices directly in the product.
So a theme. People want to know, what is a theme inside Prismic? Can you show it? Can you show us what the theme? So what I understand is that you choose a slice, and then you apply a theme to a slice level. You don't apply it to the whole page. You decided that the theme is not applied to the page, but it's applied to the slice. What was the reasoning about it, and can you show us how is it in Prismic?
Yeah, of course. Let me switch my screen. And basically, to answer your question, there is a theme type right here. So you can see in Prismic we have all the themes. Here's all the solid ones, and then all the fun gradients. And what defines a theme is it's literally just a name and a class. And the class is the CSS class that's written on the page, not on the page, sorry, on the slice container, such that we can then style its children accordingly. So that's literally a theme. But if I go back to see where it's applied, I'm going to go to a page. And let's say I go to pricing, for example. And I'll go to content. And this is all the slices of this page, right? You can see every single slice has a theme content relationship to it. And I can just click the theme and select another one. And I can choose Fire Bright, for example. And you can see I just changed the theme of this slice. So it's as simple as that. Really, there's nothing to it. Once this is published, that this particular slice will have an orange gradient background to it now. Before it was dark. So I won't actually publish this because Heather's gonna get mad at me. But but that's pretty much how it works. So yeah, and the reason why we didn't use if some people are asking, the reason why we didn't use the labels is because we reserved the labels for layout. That was the first reason. So you can see 2-column, 3-column. And the other reason is that if Heather wanted to add a new theme in the future, we did not want her to go and edit the data model for all the slices and add that label to all of them. We wanted her to literally just go into Prismic and say create new, and then say theme, and she can create a theme called green, and she changes the class to whatever green, and publishes it, and now it's available to the whole website. Everywhere
Yeah.
themes are being used, she can reference green. So
Yes.
that's why we used it as some type.
So Sayed Hosseini from the comments on YouTube, he figured out that it's a great way of adding new ones as well, and someone agrees that it's a smart way of dealing with this. So I probably it's obvious for a lot of people, but why did you add the theme at the slice level and not at the page level?
I think it's more for variety. Like, instead of having one page all be orange and red, we, might want the header to be orange and red, yet one of the sections below be navy, and then another section below be ocean with the blues. We decided that for continuity at the slice level was probably about as granular as we wanted to go. So not a component per se, or a repeater.
Why not?
I think it would get too muddled and too busy. Like, we wanted some consistency from a design, perspective, but we didn't want the entire page to have the same theme, because then they would be very cookie cutter. So within a page, we can use the same themes that are global themes, but in a unique way just for that page. And so it kind of gives the content people a little of, ways to be unique, but without breaking the overall, style guide for the website and the consistency of the design.
Yeah, it's the most flexible way, because if Heather wants to make an entire page that's like just black, she can literally put the black theme on all the slices, and it works. And this is another small thing, but just really quick, like if we have two slices of the same theme next to each other, we actually have CSS that collapses the padding between.
Yeah, can you show us? Can you show the tailwind? Yes, of that one. It's great. I love it. I love it when you showed me this. Like, if you have basically two of the same color, you don't want to have too much space in between them, right? Because every slice will be having its own padding, and then you do this trick where you select. Yeah, can you please show?
Yeah.
us
So
this?
basically, yeah, this is some
Can you zoom
this
a
is
bit?
some of
Can
our
you zoom,
logic
please?
where.
Can you zoom in? Yeah.
How do you know?
Huh?
Minority report.
So basically, we have some logic that says if the theme is white and it has a section that has its white theme is gray plus a section of gray. So we're just using CSS, sibling selectors to say if these two themes are next to each other and they're the same, then apply a padding top, and this is Tailwind, padding top of 0 to the second one. Again, with headings. So with headings, we wanted to space it a little differently. So the reason we're not applying this logic to gradients is because if Heather puts two gradients next to each other and you collapse the padding of one, you'll have like this line in the middle where, the colors aren't quite the same. So we're not collapsing the padding for those. We're only collapsing
Right.
The
the solid
solids
ones.
tend to blend together better. Yeah.
Okay.
So
basically, you
that's
modify.
kind of,
You adapt the theme to every slice. So maybe you define the theme globally, and then you go and adapt it for every single slice if you need to override some properties of
exactly.
that class.
So there's certain slices. I don't know. I can't think of one, but for example,
Can you zoom?
there's,
Can you zoom, please?
Yeah.
Well, and also while he's talking, and to your point, each theme is also styled uniquely. So if it's a dark background, the button text or the title text will be light, versus if it's a light background, then the title text will be darker. So all of that's done in the CNS, but it all corresponds to the theme that somebody chooses. Same thing even with the gradients. If they choose a light gradient, that's different than a dark gradient, and it's styled differently for those different themes and the slices for those themes.
Yeah, so we have some, we have like, you can see it says dark stuff. So this is like all the dark themes, and we're overriding things like form inputs and titles and buttons to see, like, for example, button typically on the site always has like a dark outline around it and dark text. But if it's within a dark slice, the button then has a white border. So, we're doing some certain overrides globally, and now this is not slice specific. This affects all slices. So every button in every single slice now looks like this if it's within one of those themes. So this is one way that we think we kind of smartly built this, so that we wouldn't have to define logic for every single thing in every single variation. We kind of build it with little components with Tailwind, and then everything just inherits from the parent theme.
This is really cool, and there, we have a lot of comments, and I don't know if we can answer all the questions. But Sayed is saying the CSS sibling selector trick is genius for theming slices. And what else? Yeah, there is a question here. How are you handling site speed? Are you prefetching all the slice data on first load?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. This site is is
the question
almost
is from. Let me see. Let me get back to it. Where is it? From Flex. Thank you very much for asking the question. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. This is a very hot topic these days, site speed with Core Web Vitals and all that stuff. The site is server-side generated on Vercel. So we're using Next.js to download essentially all the data from Prismic, build all the pages as HTML, and serve them as HTML. So there are 0 queries being made to Prismic whenever the site is being served. So like if you go to maxstadium.com right now, the only things coming from Prismic are the images. Which obviously are coming from ImageX, but
which is included by default in Prismic, right? ImageX.
Right.
I mean,
and it's awesome. We love ImageX.
We love them. Dan Spratling. I'm sorry, I'm very bad at pronunciation of things. It would be. No, it wasn't. Sorry, I guess which one was it?
It was
one option Prismic could take is creating a theme drop down like variants, which would work great with Storybook. So yeah, we could introduce something like that for, first level, like in slices where you can choose themes and stuff. We need to think about it. But, we had a lot of discussions about such a thing.
That's a subject that we are exploring, but we need to understand how many people need it, what's the level of granularity that we propose, etc. Because you decided to, you've taken a decision that is basically quite restrictive. And I like it in the sense of it's keeping consistency in terms of design, like creating theme, etc. But we know that some people are also requiring more flexibility in the sense
like some Figma tokens or something like this, where you can change stuff. We need to find what is the thing that people, or maybe a theme that can be defined by tokens, or I don't know what. But we need to capture this, and this is the thing is like. Again, once we get a lot of people using it, Noha is telling me I have to go quickly because we have something else afterwards, and I can't do that because there's so much content. But anyway, once we have, the fact that we have a lot of people that are, taking the slices, stretching them, trying to add more stuff to it to make it more creative in the same direction, then we'll capture stuff, and then you'll benefit back from this because we will deliver these kind of things, and you can use them for your work. One last thing. There's this hero thing that you showed me as an example where Heather combined several
the
slices.
data center page.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So actually, I'll show you that. That's kind of cool. This is something that it took me off guard as I was building the site.
Let me just we share your screen again if we can. Can we share? Yes, we can see.
So this is funny because once I kind of gave Heather the system. She caught me off guard and she started using slices in more creative ways that I did not even think about. So what she did is in order to build this thing, she actually used 3 different slices. She used a header slice, she used a full width image slice, and then she used a feature grid slice. So to make like one large header. And I thought that was super cool. So we kind of brought that to the website as well.
Well, the other thing is that's kind of where the idea to collapse the padding came from too, because when I first built it, it was way too spread out. Yeah. So, we said if it's the same color, let's collapse the padding and make it a little tighter.
So you can actually see this is built with 3 different sections. So there's the header, there's the full width image, and then there's the storm. So all 3 of these have the same theme, and they're collapsing the padding between them.
Nice.
So that was a very creative way for Heather to build a new component, essentially, from 3 different slices.
Yeah, and this is the moment where we didn't develop this here. Where does this come from? I did it. I love it. So I guess if you can keep afterwards, like now we're moving into we'll move to another talk. There is Dan that is waiting for us, and he has some interesting stuff that he wants to. We want him to tell us. There are a lot of questions there. If you can, TJ, answer some of these people on YouTube, if you can, or we try as well.
Of course.
Last thing that you want to say here?
Yeah, thanks for letting us share the site. We had a really good time working with Prismic and building it. And so being able to come and talk about it is great. And you guys listening to us and taking the feedback is really awesome. Like, you don't get that a lot of companies and a lot of tools. So we appreciate being able to have the conversation.
Of course, you're helping us build our product. What do we want better? People like you. That's all what we need.
For sure. Well, thanks a lot. And on top of that, TJ, if people want to see more, maybe you can share the link of the talk that you did yesterday at Next.conf. Maybe people would be interested in knowing more and learning more through this.
Yeah, definitely. I'll put it in the chat and I'll hang out.
Awesome.
Answer some
Thanks
questions.
a lot.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. This was great.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye bye. Thanks.
All right. That was long. I don't know how.
I didn't feel it long.
Even the hour. I didn't feel it long, but I saw Noha waving hands like 10 times, which means it was long.
Too long?
It was long, actually.
Like, way too long?
Longer
than planned.
not
But that's
according to the plan, yes.
That's, we do that. Like, that's the way we do stuff. Monogram plus Skyward in one talk is huge. Loving this, Alex.
Okay. So now we have Dan, which is a very interesting story as well. That I would like to welcome Dan. Do we have? Yeah, we have you already here, Dan. Hi.
Hey.
Oh, it's already the case. Okay.
We it was a very interesting case of Monogram. I guess I saw your comments, and you seem to be doing the same tricks on your own.
Yeah, I mean, it was great seeing how like a much larger agency than I have is like running into the same issues and solving them the same way that we are. It's just
cool.
It's a really nice feeling.
So Dan, can you introduce yourself a little bit, like quickly?
Yes, I am a developer. I have been working in the front end for the last 5-6 years, and about a year and a half ago I went freelance. That went pretty well for me, so I have then turned that into an agency, and I'm now kind of using my experience in agencies previously to kind of keep growing that.
And there's so much to unfold there, but first I want to learn more about your setup. You have a nice setup there behind you. You have like some kind of posters,
A switch.
what yeah what's behind?
Yeah, I've got a couple of gaming posters behind me. I've got my Switch, which is not plugged into anything at all. It's mostly for display. I do play occasionally, but very rarely. And yeah, it's just for when I'm on calls, it makes it look nice and pretty in the background. I do try and play video games sometimes when I have free time, which is rarely.
Do you still yeah, okay, so you still play from time to time. Do you have the time for doing that once you build your own agency? I don't know. I doubt it.
Not so much. It starts to go out the door.
So I'm not good. I'm not so good into gaming, so I'm not going to dig into that kind of topic. But the thing that I really like about this, you started. Can you tell us where did you start? Like what was the first thing you did in programming or in building with code?
Yeah. So the first thing I did after kind of leaving uni was going, and I worked in a very small agency. It's about 5 people, which is kind of where I am now. And I was creating WordPress sites, kind of coming from templates and then turning those templates into slightly more custom options by just kind of tweaking those designs. And because most people don't like that template feel, so they wanted something a bit more custom, but also still quite cheap. And then from there, I went on to kind of much more custom for slightly bigger companies using Craft, and it's kind of grown on from there. And I've like fallen into the headless route, and I absolutely love it.
Cool. And so basically, and then what? And then what happened? So you started with these templates, you were tweaking them, and then what happened? And you went more into Craft, and then?
Yeah. So once I got to Craft, I kind of realized that the templates were very restrictive, or they were too flexible. It sounds weird, but when you've got kind of so much option, which you can get with WordPress templates, they just give you everything in the kitchen sink. And when you've got that much control, as soon as you hand it over to a client, they have no idea what they're doing, which is the same as it being very restrictive because they just don't know what to do. So we kind of went down the route of finding solutions that work best by giving the user less choice. And I think this is something that Tailwind have actually said, that they kind of follow a similar methodology where you take away choice, and that actually gives the user more control over what they do because they can see the differences much more easily and they know how much they're changing things.
Right. So this is something that we did in the route of building
of things.
slices
Yeah.
and a lot of things. And it's not an easy choice, because in the beginning it might sound to a lot of people, when you remove choice, that is not great. But I love what you said here, that by giving people too much choice, you're restricting them anyway, because they are going to break stuff and then they will be scared of touching anything. So we need to have that kind of the right level. The right medium where they can express themselves without risking things going wild, right? So I love how you presented. So then you had to find that kind of solution, right? And probably here you chose. So first you started, if I remember, I don't know if you said
WordPress,
it.
then Craft,
React,
and Headless. Yes.
and then React. You built, right? You started learning React.
So I've worked with React and Vue in the past. I like both, but I currently work with React mostly.
Cool. And then, so you landed on headless CMS. You wanted something like headless CMS, but you wanted that kind of property of being able to, have some kind of middle ground where you can give control, but not too much control.
Yeah, so I started working with headless CMSs kind of in my own time, and I was learning on how to create kind of blogs and that sort of thing, creating markdown content, and that is almost kind of a very restrictive way of making those changes, where might have front matter, you might have kind of little bits of things that you can tweak, but overall the page layout stays very much the same. And I wanted something that was more flexible, but not so flexible, like WordPress solutions that were those templated approaches, where you can just do whatever you want, especially when you're thinking about it from a client perspective. So I kind of figured how to go with a few different CMSs. I went through like Santi, I went through Contentful, different options, and I was drawn to Prismic because of the slices feature. I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to it, is because when you have, so the way Contentful, Sanity solve their slices is by they have lots of different documents. They're called documents in Prismic, so I would refer to them that way. And you link through to the different page sections as another document, but that can get very messy very quickly, very hard to control. So slices was the better solution for that.
So let me walk through this, and then there are a lot of also interesting stuff about how you build your own agency that we'll get back to. But since we went technical here, so
sorry.
In WordPress, this is my fault. I mean, it's it's overwhelming to have so much, so many things to unfold. But I'm trying to keep on track. So you talked about in WordPress from the client perspective. If they want to do a similar page, duplicate the one page, they had to copy stuff, right, between pages, and that was not a good process. There were a lot of error and problems with that kind of approach, right? And then you went. Go ahead. Yes. You told me this earlier, and I'm repeating it.
Yeah. Yes. So when clients were copying pages in WordPress, and I've worked with Webflow, and it's a very similar problem. They want to create templates. They want to create the same page, but maybe with the content shifted around slightly. And they were doing that by duplicating the page, but then they would struggle to make those changes in the way they wanted to. They would end up breaking things. It'd be very difficult to kind of keep going, which would then restrict them. They'd waste time, and then they get frustrated.
You're right. And then probably in headless CMS with the links,
the entries,
then it's a bit complex, right? You kind of have a page that will link to another page that is a component, and then another page which is the micro component, and so on and so on. But that didn't work either.
Yeah. So my experience with that is a very good example is trying to create a page, like a slice that is for testimonials, where you've got the page, which then nests to a testimonial slice, which then nests to a testimonial, which then might nest to a case study or a author or both. And you've got this kind of very cascading level of editability, where you can go in and edit each of them, but then you don't know what you're affecting down the line on other pages, where you even are in the page structure. It's quite confusing for non-technical people to actually understand how that works.
Right. And once you went through different levels of nesting, then you don't even know which page you're modifying anymore. I don't know. Sometimes I'm scared. maybe this is used somewhere else, and then it becomes problematic. Maybe I'm changing several pages.
Yeah, and then you have to kind of save a draft and go check your previews and then check every page. And if you've got a 100-page website or a 1,000-page website, what are you changing? You don't know. If you've got tests, that might catch that, but then you're relying on tests to make sure things aren't broken instead of just solving the problem in the first place.
And then when you have done that, like and publish your page or saved your page, you basically have in your headless CMS document listing or entry listing, I don't know, 20 documents, because you have like cascading entries that are running, and everything is flat, etc.
So and then you went through slides, but something is very interesting. Like I really like how empathic you are to the user experience. That you're delivering experience to your client. You're not only delivering the front end, the website experience, which is already a lot of things to think about, but also you're delivering this publishing experience that we talked about with Monogram, right?
Yeah. So as I went, as I started freelancing, I started focusing on the user experience. And as I created more websites, and this is something I've been thinking about in the past as well, but hadn't really kind of clocked onto, was that actually the editor is a user experience. It's just a different kind of user. So like you're reaching out to editors and how to solve their problems, which is a user experience. And then you've got the website also needing to kind of forward face to the customers, and that's their like fixing experience there. So you've got experiences all over. And then one of the things that JAMStack does really well is creating kind of these reusable components that are very easy for the developers to edit, which is another kind of experience. So yeah, it's kind of that whole package of making sure you deliver an excellent website that works for everyone.
Yeah, and that's why I thought like it's good that you share this story, so that we get people more aware of the fact that they are delivering experience, publishing experience, the website experience for the visitor. So there are several experiences that they are developing, and that we need to be aware of that, and to be, make good choices, so people that are building the pages, that will continue building the pages throughout the days and the years, that they have a pleasant experience doing that, right?
Yeah, the job of the agency basically doesn't stop at just releasing on production the actual website, but then it will, like, the overall experience will be impacted during all the lifetime of the website, running, creating new pages, doing changes also on the website in production already. So all this flow.
So so you have a background, yeah. So and this is like, okay. So once you deliver this experience, do you think that there is a time where you get back to the client and they come back to you and tell you like, hey, can you add more stuff, more sections, more components so that you can use them? Does it happen that way?
Yeah, so we find that clients sometimes want more things added to the website. That's pretty common, especially as they're trying to grow and scale. That they have lots of kind of different ideas, and you want to kind of add them to the site in a way that is most flexible for them, so they can create new landing pages, they can create new different kinds of blog posts and that sort of thing. So they do come back and ask you questions there. Then you also have kind of content and delivering that way. So we can offer content solutions where you just like write blog posts, or you write landing pages, or other kinds of pages, depends on what you need. You find clients kind of, especially if they're very busy and don't necessarily have a technical team of their own, even once the project is finished, they will still ask you for lots of different kinds of things.
Right. But I want to walk through that, like, so you have this kind of developer background and you like UX, but what I know that you changed at some point into being a freelancer. What motivated you into deciding, okay, I want to be freelance?
So when I started freelancing, I wanted to do it for the freedom. I wanted to have control over who I worked with. I wanted to have control over when I worked. I wanted more control over how much I earned. That's another option that freelancers kind of get to set themselves, is their own salary, and then increase that or whatever, or take time off or whatever they choose. I just wanted that freedom to have kind of do what I want with my time, essentially. And then as I kept going, I kept finding that clients were really enjoying working with me, that the projects were getting bigger, and I thought it was a great time to go for agency stuff, which is kind of backwards because I do have less time now, but I love it, so it's great.
And I will walk a little bit more into, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but and I know how many people we have in the people that are in the chat that are also freelance, you can please comment and tell us. And maybe one of the questions I want to ask them and you is, what are the biggest challenges or fears slash real challenges? So when you're becoming a freelance, so basically you decide to be a freelance, and then you have a lot of fears. What happens if? What happens if? What about that? And what about that? These are fears. And then you go through the journey and you find some challenges, real challenges that you need to think of. So what are the real challenges and what are the fears that actually not so important, but you might be scared in the beginning about? Two things, right?
Yeah. So for me, like some of my biggest fears were not knowing everything, which is a really just like thinking back and saying it out loud sounds really weird, but there's lots of different things that you have to know as a freelancer, like how tax works, how to manage your time, how to talk to clients, all these things that people think is like super scary and you need to be perfect at it from the get-go, and it's just not true. You can figure it out as you go. Same with any other job. Like most people will say, don't apply for a job. Like you don't have to know everything for the job before you apply to a job, and that's the same with freelancing. You don't have to know everything about freelancing before you start freelancing.
So that's one of the fears that actually should not stop you from being a freelance, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think that covers probably most of the fears because they all come under that somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you find exactly the same fear like when launching an agency, like going the step after?
Yes, but I'd already kind of learned how to deal with it by just realizing that I'll figure it out as I go. So kind of going freelance first and then going agency after made it quite easy for me to make that transition into agency life because I'd essentially already taken that jump once. So other than maybe setting myself back a little bit until I grow into a much larger agency because of SEO and transitions and that sort of stuff, it's been like a really great experience, and I don't think that I would have done it a different way, to be honest.
And again, I'm sure there are people in the in the chat that maybe are thinking of being freelance, but they have some questions. This is the time you can ask Dan about them, and we'll try our best to answer them. And also, if you are a freelance and you think that there are some fears that are manageable, you can share it with everyone on the chat. Just jump into your keyboard, write things, and we will deal with it. But there's something that I also, so that was fears. The real challenges of being a freelance, what are they?
I think my biggest challenge, or the biggest challenges I found, is delivering the right solutions for clients. It's very easy to get trapped into the, oh, well, I'll just give you a website and you'll figure out how it works after the fact. And a lot of people do that. They create templates and they create like things that are very static, and you deliver them and then they're done and nobody touches them, and that's the solution. But that's not really how businesses work. That's not really how people grow. So trying to understand what businesses need from you, from like what they're trying to get from their customers, and that sort of like figuring all of that out is super rewarding but quite challenging.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, right? Especially when you figure out that the real need behind the different things that they are saying, and that's a lot of fun. Like sometimes a lot of people will be like concerned, or like they need something, but there's something behind that is hiding that you have to dig deeper into and understand, and then that's even more satisfying, I feel. I don't know if in your experience.
Yeah, it's the same for me, and it's the sort of thing that you get better at as you keep going, which leads back into the fears where you don't know everything from the start, but you will always pick things up and get better as you go along.
And we have Jadida who says that having employees must be a bit scarier than being a freelance.
Yes. So the way I solved this problem was I am a virtual agency. So technically, I'm still the only employee for the company, which makes me essentially a freelancer. A lot of people go freelance and set up a company for themselves anyway. So like it works very similarly. And then I hire freelancers to do work with me. So I've had a few developers come in the past. I've had a project manager. I've had a couple of copywriters, and it like, yeah. So you have that solution of scaling up when you need to, and then scaling back down if things are quiet. And for me, actually, right now, things are quite quiet on the development front. So I don't work with those developers anymore, but I would love to work with them again in the future. So you have that kind of option to grow and then release as you need to, which has worked perfectly for me.
Yeah, and Alex is saying, agreed. Having employees definitely sounds like it escalates the pressure tenfold. I don't know. I can maybe I can talk about that a little bit. But no, I mean, I love everyone that works for Prismic, and actually it is challenging to have employees because you have a lot of responsibility, and sometimes you're a little bit anxious about it, or maybe too anxious about it, or maybe you don't sleep the night because you think like, okay, well, I have to deal with that. Especially in the beginning, it's a lot of pressure and responsibility. It's not easy, but also there is a lot of it's very rewarding when you see people, loving what they're doing, advancing, progressing, and all of that. It's very rewarding. So if you end up ever having employees, you need to also enjoy the fact that it's rewarding, because if you don't do that, you get only the negative side, which is it's a lot of weight. So I think that's an important aspect. But I would like to know from you, why did you decide to create your own agency? What were your motivations?
So I've worked in agencies most of my career, so it feels almost kind of like the natural next step. I have seen all the processes that go behind the scenes. I've seen how projects get managed. I've seen how designers and developers work together. So I'm very happy to do that. And as I was working through as a freelancer, I was getting more work. I was finding that people were loving what I was doing. And I wanted to kind of take that next step and grow and work with other people and take on specialists. So I am pretty good at design. I'm very good at development, I hope. But I am not very good at things like copywriting, SEO, and being able to deliver full solutions to clients is something that I really want to do. And as a freelancer, it's much harder to do that. You can kind of go and learn all these things, but it takes a lot of time. Or you can outsource stuff, but then you're working as kind of a partnership. I wanted kind of to have full oversight of the projects, deliver exactly what the clients needed, but then kind of forward the work that I'm not so specialized in on to other people.
Yeah, and there's Carly Hoffman who says, "Hey Dan, when switching to freelance, how challenging was it to get new clients? I'd worry about not getting enough work if I were to switch to a freelance developer." What do you think?
Yeah, so finding your first client is probably the hardest one. For me, before I went freelance, I started building up a following on Twitter, which then led into connections, and I got referrals for people who had reached out to other people looking for freelance work, and then they passed them on to me. So that worked quite well in my situation. There's a lot of different ways you can try and find clients. You can go out and reach out to people that you already know. You can reach out on networks that are specifically for freelancers, like Fiverr or Upwork or places like that. There are lots of different approaches to finding work. But once you've found your first client, it's much easier to kind of get referrals from there. You can ask the client for referrals who then have actual experience with you working with them. And you can ask for testimonials that you can then share in next project. So even if you don't get a referral from that client, you can say, well, here I've worked with this person, and this is what they thought of me.
Yeah, it's very important. Very important that you already have a good experience, good relation with the client, and then they can help you get more clients. Works every single time, and
you have a portfolio to show your work. So basically, you are building.
People can trust you. Yeah, absolutely. And then Jadida says, biggest challenge for me as a freelancer is keeping an eye on the downstream work and not just focusing on the current job. Yeah, for sure. Similar, right?
Yeah, I've had that same issue. Especially when you get lots of work, and I had a pretty good 3-month period where I had 3 projects in at the same time, and I took on 5 freelancers to work with me, and that was really great. But then I kind of let the ball drop on getting new work in, which is unfortunate, but it's a learning experience, and it's important to kind of keep that marketing going and making sure that if you're not doing it, then get someone else to do it. And try and make sure that you've always got that kind of those feelers out to try and find new work.
And do you in your agency still do you still are hands-on, like basically still working on the project actual, or do you spend most of your time like synchronizing the different freelancers so that they can do the actual job and deliver?
So a bit of both. When I'm working with lots of people, I tend to be relatively hands-off, and I'm more process-focused, making sure that things are being kind of put together in the right way, making sure that as we're making changes to projects, that we're setting ourselves up for the next project before we even know what it is. So we've actually got a approach that we use where we kind of create a boilerplate and then edit it and improve it as we go through and make our projects, so that we can get started much quicker next time, so that we save time there. And it just makes life a lot easier when you've kind of already figured out these problems, and then you don't have to figure them out again.
Yeah, absolutely. This helps a lot, speeding these things up. Yeah.
No, I wanted to understand how did you feel about the transition, basically from going to building stuff and then to managing more people and managing projects and processes and industrializing, like scaling.
I mean, for me, I've always kind of really enjoyed that side of things. I've worked like as a team lead before. I've worked helping others kind of just build up their stuff. I hadn't actually managed any juniors or like been in a kind of mentor position at any previous roles, but since going freelance and then working in the agency, I actually have managed to do that, which has been excellent. So like, yeah, it's been a very it's been a learning experience, but I loved it.
I guess there are also this kind of starting being, and you probably managed it well, but this moving from being hands-on to being a manager, it's pretty tricky. I mean, to my experience, myself, when I had to do this exercise, I started feeling that I'm not doing anything because I spend my time in meetings or with processes or stuff that is not the things that I used to bring value to, and suddenly I feel void. I overwork and I still feel that I'm not doing anything. I don't know if that happens to you.
Yeah, the same has happened to me. I try not to think of it as not being productive, because just because you're not delivering something doesn't mean you're not having an impact on the company. You're not taking things in the right direction. So I think it's a mindset thing more than anything, but you do have to make sure that your efforts are actually kind of working for the company and not just, I don't know, you're not just wasting your time trying to manage projects that don't need, like manage processes and set things up that are like years in the future and actually aren't going to impact you.
Yeah, I think. What have you know? I mean, I know you started.
Yeah, you asked the question.
You did the
I was a designer,
prototypes and stuff, and designer and very
so
hands-on. Yeah, and
so
then
I
you
was,
moved into managing.
And I guess it's something that everyone feels at some point. Like you went from doing something very concrete, where you see the impact of what you are doing, like you see the reaction of the work that you are doing, and then you go to a phase where you basically see your value through others and see value through the way they behave. Are they happy in the team? Like, are they able to deliver in a good quality and at a good pace? And basically, it's really complicated to shift your mindset in order to understand that that's where your value is.
That it's okay.
Myself, I was lost.
Yeah, that it's okay. This is what you're supposed to do, and that's fine, and that's your new job, right?
Yeah, one thing I've heard other people say is that you're a force multiplier. So you might not necessarily be doing all the same things you were doing before, but you're then making your team more effective, and they're creating better solutions because of it.
Absolutely. So I don't know how many times Nuha waved her hands to say like, okay, we have to move to the next thing. By the way, thank you very much, Nuha, for organizing all of this and helping us make this a success.
And waving hands.
And waving hands. Dan, anything you want to add before we end this, or people in the chat? Do you have any last questions to ask to Dan about his experience, or how he built his setup, or anything else, or his background, anything? Maybe we start with you, Dan. Why people like reach into their keyboard if they are. Any last thing you want to say?
I would say that, the last thing that I can think of is just don't be afraid as a freelancer. Just go out and try it. In a worst case scenario, you end up back in your job anyway. It's not it's not the end of the line if you don't succeed with your freelance work. So just give it a go, see if you like it. If you don't like it, then that's fine.
Cool.
I guess
Well-
it's the same thing that we did when we launched the company, basically. Like, anyway, at the end, if it doesn't work, but we'll make it work. If it doesn't work, or if we just don't like it, we can go back to the work that we did before.
And as Samuel Horn is saying on in the comments, I recommend everybody to follow Dan on Twitter. An inspiring journey for sure. And you share a few interesting things on Twitter. So maybe we should, share your Twitter handle on the comments.
Yeah, I am regularly on Twitter talking about various things. Sometimes I'm praising Prismic, sometimes I'm telling you what you could do better. But yeah, I will make sure to share my Twitter handle in the
And we
chat,
love
and
both.
you can follow me.
We love both. When you
It's not just that; it's other tech content too.
Yeah, but like I mean, we love when people are for sure getting good feedback. It encourages to do more and to see that we are in the right direction. But it also helps a lot to see even like maybe critiques in a sense, or more negative feedback in the sense that we know and we are sure that people care about what we are building, and we have a view on how we can do better. So we try to get all that in our feature request or product backlog, basically, so that we can improve the product over time.
And then we keep in touch. What you're doing is very inspiring, and our role. What do we Prismic do? Help people build websites, right?
Mhm.
And what we want is to enable people like you. You are the people who are building the web, right? Because freelancers and agencies, you are the guys that are building stuff, and we need to inspire from you, from the way you work, from how your excellence, how you deliver to your clients, and then capture some stuff and help you not do the repetitive stuff. So we capture the repetitive stuff and make it in the tools so that you can focus on more qualitative stuff. So we keep in touch. We want to learn more from you, and Monogram and all these are the freelancers and agencies that help us make our product the best product out there. So thank you very much for sharing this with us. We'll keep in touch, and we'll
Sorry.
keep talking to you. I know you're connected with the team, and I love that. and we'll talk more. Thank you very much for
Yes,
sharing.
thank
this
you very
with us.
much too.
Bye.
Okay, we are now into
Let's wrap this up, basically. Product updates.
product updates, and then
And
wrap
then
this
QA.
up.
Yeah.
QA, yes.
So Q&A.
Q&A. Yes, right now we're developing our QA department, and that's why I'm making these mistakes. But so we hired people for that.
Yeah, okay, so the first thing is, this month we'll have two short product updates. One is about bulk action. We discussed it last time. We have more than 1,000 repositories that are now using bulk action in production, so it's in the beta test, and we do that every time we release a new feature like this one. So if you want to get access to the feature first, you can ask for it, and we'll activate it for your repository. Then what we are adding on top of what we currently have as a feature like bulk publish, bulk archive, etc. is a bulk delete. We will continue to add more in the next week, but if you want to get access to this feature, please reach out in the community forum, so community.prismic.io. We'll activate the feature for you, and you will be able to get access to the next iteration and next releases on bulk action.
And by the way, while we're talking about this product updates, please, you can ask us the questions if you have any
Yeah, for
questions,
sure.
and we'll try to answer them by the end. So we're having a Q&A session, and we'll answer that. It could be about anything, the product, the the upcoming things, or stuff that you're having trouble with, or anything else. Our fashion style.
Not about Sadex's jacket,
Not
because
about my
he
jacket.
doesn't know where to buy it again. But no, you found the website again?
No,
Okay.
it doesn't exist. I don't know why it doesn't exist. So I'm
Okay.
sorry for that, but I love it. I put it in every product. It's the product
The jacket.
the Prismic Meetup jacket. It's my wardrobe. There is a label on it. So
The second update that I wanted to talk to tell you about is basically from Slice Machine. We are reworking different things because we see that the overall experience of building Slice in Slice Machine is really good, that people likes it a lot and are enjoying using it. Though we see that there is some problems still today while trying to reach that step. So basically the overall setup of a Slice Machine project is a bit complicated. We have some, let's say, issues with Storybook and on the onboarding, so we are putting some effort into this. So, it was planned to be released today, but it was not today. So this week we'll release basically a new process to set up a Slice Machine project that will be simpler, less error prone, fewer dependencies, so just a simpler process for you to start a slice machine project. We are doing that into the process of, we talked about it, but we stabilize the overall UI and the way to build slices, to build model, to build mocks. This is very stable. But on some part about the setup and the onboarding, we are just reworking this at the moment. And so you can expect a lot of improvement over the next weeks in that area.
I say months. So in the meantime. I mean, there are a lot of things
4
that
weeks
are
is a
happening.
month.
Yeah. And that is, a lot of people. So there's the team of developers that work on this. Of course, there's you and the product managers,
Yep.
and the product managers, but we have also the developer experience that bring us a lot of feedback and, interact with you guys to understand what are the first things that we should be working on all these kind of things. So a big team of people working on this. So we make it, each time we reach some way, we say like, it can be smoother, it can be better, and we keep iterating on that. And that's very important for us.
And yeah, that will be one of the main area in which we will improve, like until the end of the year, like for this quarter, basically, with other elements that we'll most likely start to disclose next month or the month after. Now, if you want to get access to the new setup and to the new release, should be again released this week on NPM. A new version of the Slice Machine UI and the setup should be released. A new documentation should be released. So please, if you use it and test it, let us know what you think and if you see any problem.
That's it for the updates.
That's it for the update. Great meeting this month. I've tried to use Slice Machine in another project but struggled quite a bit, and since it wasn't too big, I stopped trying and used the old school Prismic approach, so this is great for you. So, okay.
It's time that you guys start using Slice Machine. We have a lot of clients, big clients even, big companies using Slice Machine in production, and it's going well. This is reassuring, and they love it. So it's no more excuse. This is the time to jump into Slice Machine, and it will only get better. All right, so that's it for the product updates. If you have any questions now, we can answer them, or we can wrap this up. That's I don't know. Okay, there is a question here. Does Prismic provide? This is from Rexa. Does Prismic provide the hosting or just a CMS? I should buy the hosting outside. So Prismic will be hosting so we'll give you the tools for publishing, for building the slices and components and all these kind of that. But your actual website, you have to host it. But there are so many good hosting solutions. You can choose, if you are on React, so on Next, you can go and use Next.js, Vercel. So Next.js and Vercel is a very good choice for hosting. You can choose Netlify as well. For Gatsby, for people that are fans of Gatsby, you can use Netlify. And then what else? Yeah, Netlify,
Vercel are the two main platform of choice as of today. Some people use Heroku for different other website platforms.
And they're pretty cheap to start with, so I don't think that it will be intimidating.
But I wanted just to come back to what you said, because I want to be sure that it's clear. All the part about the CMS, meaning the interface where you type the content, like the actual content itself, and the API, we host it. It's something that we host and we provide as a cloud
and we
solution.
scale and we improve its performance. We have a lot of work on that, and actually there are things that we'll announce shortly about that kind of performance improvement and stuff. So the good thing about it is, like, this is where often problem comes from, and we manage that for you. So you don't have to scale your content or scale your website. We do that. We do an important part of it. Images, optimization, all of that. You're right. Yes.
The only thing that you will host on Vercel or on Netlify or whatever will be your actual front end or website that will query basically your API.
Yeah, right. That's a good question. Thank you very much for that. Raphael saying thanks for the meetup. Always a pleasure. Yeah, it's a pleasure for me. Someone was asking me from Prismic, and by the way, we're a much bigger company. I so many new faces. I love it. I'm seeing so many new people, and I love it. It's very rich, and moment for me as well. I love coming in here. So Absolutely not. This is my moment. You know. I don't know if it's the same for you, but I love coming here.
Flex is
Samuel as
asking-
well said like a great tour you was. Thank you very much, Samuel, for being here, and looking forward to working with you. I don't know any other.
Flex is
questions?
asking, would you consider allowing a way to pre-fetch sliced data on first load rather than on each route change? So it really depends not on our side, because as you might have understood, like we provide content through an API. So really the way you build your website and the way everything related to how you query the content and how you basically when you query the content, when you do you do it at build time, do you do it when a user will basically browse your website? It really depends on the technology that you choose to build your website. So if you do static site generation, for example, meaning with Gatsby or with Next or with Next now, it will be done basically the data will be fetched at build time. So basically before a user will browse your actual website, the data and the data will be fetched and the page will be already created and statically generated.
There's Samuel Tirta with
Samuel
Jaja?
Horn, yeah. No,
No,
Samuel-
not Horn.
okay. Just
logging with GitHub on Prismic doesn't work for me. Is that normal? No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I might guess why, but what you could do, Samuel, is to drop a message on community.prismic.io so that we can help you debug this and understand why it's not. But it's not supposed to not work, so it's supposed to work basically. Double.
Okay, Andre, thank you all also for being here. Tiba as well. We'll be looking forward to see you again in the next meetup, and everyone else. I guess I wait a few seconds here to see if there are any other questions. But this is great. It has been a pleasure for me. Now I'm going for my badminton practice, so I have to leave this time.
To show my socks.
This is that. Who knows?
I didn't have two clean socks the same as a pair, so I figured okay, it's working.
Thank you, Nuha, for pointing this out. But please tell me when you show like my socks so that I can hide them.
But thanks a lot.
Yeah.
If no reactions on my socks, I guess it's okay.
Anyways, thanks everyone. It was a pleasure. See you next time. Question. Okay. Why Prismic? Why Prismic not provide the hosting like Vercel do? So it's gonna be no configuration and make it even easier developer. The answer is we try to focus on one aspect and do it right, and then I guess Vercel and Netlify, they're so good at what they do,
Yeah.
and I guess they are best choices. Maybe we can provide more integration so that it becomes more
Easier.
centralized, and this is something that we're thinking about.
Yep.
But we're thinking today, let's focus on the core experience, make it simple, make it small, so that it becomes much easier for you guys, and then we can do more integration and stuff so that it becomes even easier, maybe central and all of that.
Yeah. But like they do a great job. Like if you use Vercel in the past, you will see that the quality of the product is and Netlify 2 is incredible. And so simplifying the connection, as you said, is
We can do
I
that,
think
yes, absolutely.
you plan to update the media library. Yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah.
So there is another question. So Aaron is asking, any plan to update the media library with more organization, folder, etc. Right now it's a bit of a mess, catch-all for image, and we'd like to clean that up. Yes, it's planned. So as you know, we are hiring a lot of people as of today, so that we can grow the team and basically have a more bandwidth to be able to tackle some subject like this one. At the moment, we are still at the scaling phase of the engineering team, product management team, and designers team. But yes, it's in the plan. Most likely in 2022, we will have improvement on this.
So the thing is, we are hiring different, what people call them, squads, teams,
product team,
product teams. So we built already 3 of them: the platform, /machine, the editor, and now we're building other teams so that we have a much bigger bandwidth, and we'll be able to deploy more, to develop more, and all of that. This is a lot of fun, but also it's a lot of work. So, but yeah, we're happy about the progress, and we hired like a lot of very good people, and I'm happy about that. So to next time, how does Renault socks go with Sadek's jacket? We'll try to.
I need to pair them. So I need basically a black sock with like a golden green other. So I'll try that.
I will buy you that. Okay, that's it, I guess, right?
You have badminton.
Yeah, I have to go. I have a training.
That's it. I have badminton. So let's go. Thanks a lot, everyone, and see you next month.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
And see you next time with other stories. And bring your best comments there. See you next time. Thanks a lot. Thanks for this moment. And thank you, Nuha and Stofo.